in praise of cuts. There's a little red-breasted bird that takes an interest in what you are doing in your garden. Robins. Most people enjoy their company. But this month, while I was cutting willow down in Kirkcaldy Walled Garden in the late afternoon, there was a robin that did not like what I was doing. His sharp little eyes were angry. In fact, I stopped, went home without doing all that I had time for. There was something about the bird's manner that gave me the fear. Hi, how are you? Hello and welcome to the Willow Worlds podcast for January 2025, a bit late, I have to say. If you see someone cutting down a tree, do you get upset? Do you think the person cutting down the tree should feel guilty? Well, yes and yes. And I know a little bird that agrees with you. But this month it is possible to cut down some trees and, with the help of rewilding, not feel upset or guilty about it. Let me tell you how. January's activity doesn't exactly feel like an environmentally friendly action. Armed with secateurs, long-handled loppers and even saws, we took to the big wavy willow trees and reduced them to stumps. We laid the branches end to end. We must have cut about 2.5 kilometres of willow growth. That's quite a lot of branches. At this time of year, young forests look small. The summer's lush canopy is gone, leaving behind bare, spindly branches and empty spaces that make everything seem desolate. And there's me, sawing away at what's left, making it worse. It takes a strong dose of nature-based reflection to convince me that January's mass mutilation of willow trees makes any ecological sense. The before and after photos tell a stark story. Cutting willow is a dramatic process. It suddenly doesn't look like the tree would welcome such treatment. To strip them down in the bleakness of winter, leaving behind stacks of cut rods and stakes, feels almost barbaric. Anyone watching might assume it's a commercial operation. I probably look like some kind of rural criminal, and not just to robins. But that's not what I am, as I explained to some very earnest, environmentally conscious dog walkers. I asked the dog walkers to think of me as the ghost of a woolly mammoth, or the ghost of a giant Pleistocene deer. After all, such industrious cutting would have been a regular occurrence when megafauna roamed the earth. Willow evolved alongside these massive herbivores, its branches sticking out from the snow as one of the only available sources of winter grazing. Of course, at this point, the dog walkers walked away, shaking their heads and making pointing gestures towards their temples, as if they had just remembered something. And that's too bad, because I wanted to tell them about the Pleistocene Park and Russia's most cited earth scientist, Sergei Zimov. For 36 years, Zimov has been reintroducing large herbivores like bison, elk, and yak to a very remote part of Russia, attempting to bring them back to Pleistocene levels. Zimov argues that the numbers of large herbivores need to be much higher than they are, to combat global warming and, importantly, to stop the permafrost melting. He believes that the vast forests of the north only exist because the mammoths are absent. Without large herbivores to keep the landscape open, the permafrost will melt. His vision is to transform the silent taiga forests into a noisy tundra steppe, filled with grasslands and scattered thickets of trees. In his view, this is the only viable way to protect the permafrost layer. If the permafrost melts, the climate crisis will be far, far worse. In the Pleistocene, we had woolly mammoths in Scotland. Rather than seeing myself as an ecological criminal this month, I am the ghost of mammoth, ripping out last year's willow growth as the mammoths did. I am reenacting some part of some greater ancestral ecosystem. If that does sound delusional, well, too bad. We need to think with ecosystems and see.
Hello everyone, this is the 2024 tree planting at Batswood. I'm the cameraman Matthew, and I'm going to go see Mr. Zool and everyone else at the tree planting bit. Let's go.
Last time for the work. Yay!
The Volunteering Matters sponsored tree planting and willow den creation event was postponed due to a storm, made worse by climate change. But it enjoyed amazing shirts and t-shirt weather, no doubt attributable to climate change, on Saturday the 1st of February. 2 of our largest dead trees were down because of the storm, which gave us branches to make into stakes for the willow den, and we had a good mix of people attending. We planted over 200 trees and made some more progress on the willow enclosures, which are spreading across the site. Young people are now able to create a den in Batswood much faster and with less difficulty than before. Now they have a solid shell of willow to inhabit. In a few years, I think it's going to look pretty cool, as long as we hack it back every year. And so the cycle turns. What we cut down, we also plant. What seems destructive in winter finds renewal in spring. The stark, cut-back willows will soon erupt into fresh green shoots, just as the young trees we planted will take root and grow. It's a reminder that landscapes are never still. They shift, they adapt, they demand a certain level of intervention. January's work may have felt like action against nature, but it was, in truth, an act of alignment. We aren't just hacking at trees. We are shaping an ecosystem, playing our part in the long rhythms of disturbance and regrowth. The ghost of the mammoth lingers. For now we wait. The willow stumps will sprout, the dens will take form, and the young forests will rise. By summer, the evidence of our winter's labour will be hidden in a more dense, humming green. And when next winter comes, the secateurs and the handsaws will return, and the cycle will begin again.